Okay, hi everyone. As you might know, I recently finished the Prometheus Powers comic. I'm getting ready to start this second comic. This is Corbeau, Le Corbeau. And as you can see, I've actually got dialogue in there now. So this is all the text that'll be on this front page. This is just sort of the pencil layer. So we haven't got to the actual drawing. A lot of it will take place in the inks. And there'll be all kinds of details of the ship. The ship is a really important part of this comic, even though it's not really about the ship. Um, it was one of the main inspirations was Air Sub DX, as I mentioned, but also Spy Smasher, which Spy Smasher was also about the ship. You know, so anyway, let me show you what I've got so far. This is the first page, which has my explainer text, my title. Somewhere down here, I'll probably have title and credits, and then here's my second page. And I've got all the text on there as well. They're searching for this city of the ancients, hoping to find a gateway out of Pellucidar. That seems like a great motivation, and I really like this particular panel, which shows the ship kind of coursing through underwater. It goes underwater. Um, the third panel, I want to actually show the submarine base underwater, which is going to require a certain amount of perspective, I guess. How do you show underwater? I guess you got to show a lot of bubbles and these kind of flowy things. One interesting tip that I heard was you don't have to make your bubbles round. You can make your bubbles any shape. But when they go underwater, they find an underwater cave. And we have to have the ship. To show how massive it is, we're going to show the ship being very small. This is the opposite of what you would think it would be. If you want to show a large ship, you draw it really large. But actually, it's the opposite. If you want to show something really big, you must draw it really small. So that's exactly what we did here. Make sure that we're emphasizing things that are of the right. Also, we want to show that it's a disguised base, so this will mostly be up in the foreground. We're gonna have some seaweed. We might even have some fish or like a shark or something swimming by. And then on our next panel, and we'll have some dialogue. Another kind of cool trick, which seems elementary, but it almost never occurred to me before I started doing this, is you can have the dialogue coming right out of the ship. You know, if you had a castle in the background, and the characters are in the castle, just put the speech bubbles coming out of the castle. You might have to put some amplifying information, like have the characters address each other by name, so that it's very clear who's talking. But um, it is a great way to show something other than just talking heads, right? I'm trying to add a little bit of, so we're clear that this is definitely some kind of man-made, some kind of man-made gateway under the sea. And then I think on the next panel, we might even show dx kind of surfacing in the water. Now here's where, when we're emphasizing the environment, perspective becomes really important. And I know I've created some minor controversies by saying the secret of perspective is that it's not something to stress about. Like the close things are big, the far things are farther away. There are systems that you use, mathematical systems. You draw the vanishing point, you draw the radiating lines. Um, those are just systems, though. The principle of perspective does not change. That's just a way of describing how to operate it, and it's just one way of describing how to operate it. In the end, it'll be up to you to do it. Okay, so now when they came here, by the way, the city is going to be seemingly in ruins. Like they're going to get into this hidden fortress through the underwater cave, and I wanted to have it to where um, it seems to be in ruins, but then they're going to find out it is inhabited. The problem right now is it's such a complicated scene. It's underground with water, and then we're going to have maybe some kind of hatch on the top. I was looking through Amazing Mystery Funnies, the Centaur comic that's in public domain right now. It's super old. Um, and I'm just looking for any clues about the Golden Age. I just love it. But I think I got to like it's an odd numbered issue, 9 or 13 or something like that. And there's a Basil Wolverton in there, like the one with by the way, a monster called the Spider-Man in there. These space detectives are tracking a guy down. He tries to escape. He takes them into this alien planet. I think it's Venus. I think it's Venus. And then I think this is too big. I think we want to imply that the ship is really big, so let's use a tiny hatch. The bad guy tries to attack him with a flame gun, and then he gets pounced on by the spider guy. And the spider guy is just drawn amazingly. It's like the coolest thing over there. All right, well, anyways, there are some portholes. I think we have to show our heroes either already out or getting out. Oh, I made my ladder too big. Things like ladders and windows, be careful with because those actually set the scale for how big your figures are, even when the figures aren't on the page. So there's our ladder. And if you get it a little wrong, you're probably okay. People can be very forgiving, believe it or not. Aura, as an energy person, or capable of an energy form, she can actually just phase through the wall here. She doesn't need to even use the door. She doesn't want to. All right, let's see if we can do it like that. Look at this guy, and then we'll have Aura in tiny form. I made her head already too big. Also important to note, she can fly. Most of the Titans can fly, except Starlock cannot fly. Why is it? So we gotta make sure that we get her right. I think it's because I'm using too thick of a line. So let's. I had promised to make her leave behind her energy form in this issue, at least in this particular story. This also gives us an opportunity to, once again, this is all about reintroducing the characters each time. They have to say, because if you probably didn't read or even know about any of these characters that I made up in the previous things. So I've got to explain, okay, he'll probably say something like, she'll say something like hurry up, and he'll say something like not all of us can fly or phase through solid matter like you, Aura. Oh, and there's a mistake I made, and I just realized Aura has 3 crystals. It's really important that she has, whoops, 3 crystals. That's part of her character design. Same thing here. He's right here. And the crystals aren't like embedded into her, they're like hovering near her forehead. They represent her energy matrix. Whenever she gets, and I haven't had this happen yet, like I was thinking, if she gets knocked out or something like that, or something bad happens to her, her whole form disappears and the 3 crystals drop to the ground. So she really is the 3 crystals. And then she's able to like take this physical form. So we'll have some dialogue here kind of explaining, and some dialogue up here saying, hey, there it is, go through that tunnel, and then over here kind of explaining what's going on. Um, Here's another thing we're going to do is we're going to show a door, and doors, once again, they set the scale for how big your characters are. What we've done here is, see how I'm showing the roof as part of this? That's also important perspective detail. Also, we want to show some of the degeneracy of the area. So we'll have some hanging seaweed or muck kind of coming down from the ceiling. Maybe some loose cables are coming down off out of the walls. It's high technology, but it's in a state of extreme disrepair. I know my door is out of perspective here. The angles are wrong. How do we fix it? Well, is it this way? How do we do it? I think we are going to have to figure out where the vanishing point is. So let's say if this is a continuation and this is a continuation, right? And the vanishing point's here. I think we might have made Aura just a bit small, so it's okay. Make her just a bit bigger. Let's make octagonal shaped doors. Something like that. There's got to be something going on back here, but I don't know what yet. This is our. That was my guess at a finishing point there. Um, and it should be almost like that. There's multiple possibilities. Like we want to give the sense that this is a big base with all kinds of possibilities here. Okay. And then once we've done all that, we can leave the ship behind, right? We've got them. We've used the ship at the beginning, kind of established things, and now we can show the characters actually doing something. In this case, I think we're going to have them advancing into the tunnels. So it might be fun to have him with a flashlight and we show the glare of the flashlight. I tell you what, this penciling stage, it's very rough. Like I can see how it's gonna, maybe turn out, or I hope it's gonna turn out pretty cool. And I might need some reference for here, but I want to have them going up some stairs. Like they reach some stairs, and how do I do it? That's the tough part. How to stage it. Sometimes it's useful to um, look at some reference. Well, how about this? They're going up at an angle. And he's got a flashlight. And it's either a ramp or some stairs. In this case, let's just say it's stairs. We can do like a blackout up here. Whoops. Blackout down here. And my final check, usually when I'm doing this, is I'm making sure that no two figures are the same size, and I'm not using the same camera angle or viewpoint angle in any shot. So she's tiny here. They're somewhat largish, and then they're kind of medium down here. That's a good mix. It's going to be a matter of getting this right as far as the drawing. All right. If her left leg is forward, then her right arm would be forward. Maybe she's looking behind, making sure they're not being followed. Um, Long story short, of course they're being tracked somehow, right? Something's got to happen. When you hold a flashlight, you hold it like this. Not like a gun. A flashlight is different than a gun. And we also, that gives us an excuse to use some really drippy shadows and okay. There we go. Now I always make this little promise to myself that I won't start inking till I get to 4 pages. So there's my third page. Um, and I'm gonna try and letter it as we go on, before we ink, as you have to do. So you won't see anything really happening on this for a couple of days, I guess. Still, maybe one more day, 2 more days, Monday or Tuesday. I have a role-playing game commission thing that I have to complete. I want to try and get it done by this weekend. And so I'm going to be doing that as well. But I think we're off to a great start here. Definitely got to work on this panel right here. Maybe she's looking at him. Have like a scarf, I believe. Yeah, that's Corbeau right there. All right, very cool. All right, please like, follow, and subscribe. There'll be more comics every day. I know this looks pretty rough. I promise to get it into a little bit more finished. It's, um, but it should be a cool, exciting comic once it gets ready and done. All right, talk to you later.